Good morning, everyone. Welcome to ILOVEVBS Shalom. I'm Rabbi Noah Farkas, and it is time for our morning services. We're joined both on Facebook and YouTube. If you need a Siddur, you go to the vbs.org website and go to the ILOVEVBS Shalom homepage, and there you'll find all the resources you'll need for everything during this time while we're under pandemic. So you can find the Siddur. The Siddur we're using this morning is the red Siddur, Siddur Sim Shalom, and we'll be beginning our morning services together. If you're on Facebook, especially, I'll be able to know that you're watching with us by saying Boker Tov or good morning or what have you, and let us know that you're here. So I already know that Ilana and Byron are also with us, as well as Shushu and Jacqueline, as well as Canterbury. Nice to see you, sir. Good to have you with us. And of course, very own Ambassador of ILOVEVBS Shalom, Shirley Lowy, is with us this morning. Always good to see you, Shirley. Let's begin together. If you have a Siddur, you can put your talit on if you have one and fill in these boxes if you have them as we begin our morning services together on page 6. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan l'schuvina levin b'yom u'v'layla. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam she'osani b'tzomo. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam she'osani Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam she'osani ben chorim. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam pokeach ivrim. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam al bisharim. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam matir asurim. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam zokev kivuvim. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam rokal haaretz alamayim. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam asher asa li kol tzarki. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam mechi mitzadek gaver. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam Yisrael bigvara. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam al Yisrael b'tifara. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam al tevoach. Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam Amever shinamenai u'tu'ame avabai v'yiratov v'nechon aleinu. Utnuninu ayom b'chol yom chesed rachamim b'neicha v'knei koreinu v'tagbeinu chasadim tovim baruch atah Adonai gomer chasadim tovim v'yamo Yisrael. We turn to page 12 in the Red Siddur at the very bottom. Yehi ratzon milfanecha Adonai Eloheinu le'avoteinu she'titichenu k'tortecha v'nimel tamidav shel Aaron HaKohen Oev Shalom Brodef Shalom Oev et Abriot Markavan LaTorah. Kaddish Rabbanan is on page 13. If you are mourning and you would like to say Kaddish for a loved one, please rise if you're able at this time. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabam Be'alma Dira Cherutei Ve'amich Malchutei B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala Bizman Kari V'imru Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mevarach Le'alama Me'amaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitba'ar V'yiterman V'naseh V'yitadar V'yitalev V'yitalal Shmei Dekudja B'richu Ve'ilamin Koberchata V'shirata Tush B'chata V'nechamata Damiram B'yama V'imru Amen. Al Yisrael V'al Rabbanan V'al Tamidehon Ve'al Kol Tamidei Tamidehon Ve'al Kol Ma'an Askin Ba'oraita Diva Atar Adin V'din V'kol Atar V'atar Yelo Nachon Shama Rabba China V'chitsta Rachamim Chayim Arachim Mizuna Rivicha for Kanamin Kadam Avni Shemai V'imru Amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya V'chayim Tovim Aleinu V'Yakol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Oseh Shalom V'Ramavu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu V'Yakol Yisrael V'imru Amen. Page 14. Mizmor Shir Chanukat Habayit LeDavid Afakte mitzvodim lemecholim, pitach tesagi v'zorni simcha, leman yitzarech v'lo yadam, Adonai Elohai le'olam odeka. Kaddish Tom is on page 15. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shmei Rabba, v'yamad nibrach cherutei v'yamich malchutei, v'chayechom nev'yomechom v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agalav v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba mevarach le'olam me'amaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitba'ar v'yiterman v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitolal Shmei Dekudja B'richu le'elamin kol berchata v'shirata tush b'chata v'nechmata damiram b'yama v'imru amen. Yehei Shlama Rabba Min Shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mirma v'hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. We continue now on page 16 with Baruch She'amar. We want to say good morning to Jay. Nice to see you. And Jason, as well as Mark. Really great to have all of you with us. Page 16. Baruch Shem Havaya Ulam Baruch Hu Baruch Hoseh Bereshit Baruch Hamar Be'Yosef Baruch Hosem Kayim Baruch Hem Al Haaretz Baruch Hem Al Briot Baruch Meshalem Sachato L'Rayam Baruch Alev V'Kayim L'Netzach Baruch Podem Matzil and Baruch Shemo Baruch Atani Melech Olam Ayala Baruch Hamam Shimcha Magadim Elomen Yachin Cheolami Melech Mushiach Vayade Ad Shemo Agadol Baruch Atah Adonai Melech Mulam Batishpacho. Return to page 20. Mizmor L'Todah Rio Adonai Kol Haaretz Yidol Adonai B'Simcha Bo Lefanam B'Rinina Diu Ki Adonai Elohim Avos Olam V'Lanach Le'Umanu Etzon Merita Omer Yisrael B'Torah V'Shemo Ki Tov Adonai Le'Olam Chasto V'Yado V'Ado Emunato Yichavo Adonai Le'Olam Yisrach Adonai Ma'asav Yishem Adonai Merag Me'Dav Yad Olam Ezrak Sheva V'Yavo Ki Omar Avim V'Matziv Avim Ki V'Lechav Adonai V'Shmei Ki Yaakov B'Char V'Lo Yisrael V'Lo Ki Lo Yatosh Adonai Yamav V'Nachla Lo Yozov V'Uracham V'Mikav V'Lo Yashchit V'Bal Shiva Bo V'Yirkoch Hamato Adonai Shemel Yonenu V'Yom Koreinu. Page 21. Ashrei Yoshev Etecha Odilu Chasel Ashrei Shekach Lo Ashrei Shadonai Lo Avdila Lo V'Yor Mem Cholanei V'Lo Zecher Avducha Yabi of Skaler and Khanrak Manana Eric Abam of Khazer Dovan and I call the Kol Rakamakal Masa Yoduchan and I call Masa of Khasidech Everkucha Potech Edech Matsvil Kharaton Sadiq Alana Behold Rakab Khasid Bekol Masa Kavana Kobra the Kol Shuri met Ritzoni Ria Sevi Ashim Shozim Shomer the Naikova the Korshim Yashmin Tila, Adonai da Babi Barak Avashashim Khatila Ben, Benachtu Barak Yamit Avilam, Hallelujah, 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 Adonai. Bottom of page 22. Oh, says Shemaim V'Arzayam V'Kol Sherbam Moshe Meremet Leolam Moshe Mishpat La'asukim Noten Lechem V'Reivim Adonai Matir Asurim Adonai Bokei Achivrim Adonai Zokef Kefufim Adonai Ohem Tzadikim Adonai Shomer Gerim Et Yom V'Yom Avidei Derech Yom Mishviet Yimoch Adonai Leolam Elayek Zion Ledovado Hallelujah. Turn to page 25. Hallelujah, hallelujah, Bilkatcho, Lega Bigirozo, Allega Rota, Allega Rogvilo, Hallelujah, Betil today, Shema, Betil today, Trua, Kol Hanish Shamata Aliyah, Kol Hanish Shamata Aliyah, Hallelujah, Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Amen, Amen, Baruch Adonai Mitzvah. Baruch Adonai Le'olam, Yisrael, Shenavlo, Baruch Shem Kavod, Amen, Amen. Page 26. Vayavark David Adonai Kolini Kola Vemo Davin Baruch Adonai Elohei Yisrael V'Nim Atahu Adonai V'cha Tasit Shemayim Shemei Shemayim V'Kol Tamar Tashir Le'ai Ayamim V'Kol B'Hem Ata Mechayet Kulam Mitzvah Shemayim L'Chol Mishtachavim Atahu Adonai Elohim Asher B'Charta V'Avram Motzei Domo Kostim Usanta Shemo Avraham Motzad Lovavov Leman Levanecha V'Charti Mona Brio Te Haaretz Akanim V'Titin Otan Mevarim Levanecha Tzolkim Moshe Levatasun Dechoy Shem Kavim Mazeh Vayam Bakta Lifnehem Vayvu B'Tochayam Vayabasha Et Rodvei Mishlachta Kamotzmo Kamo Even B'Mayim Ozim. Page 27. Vayosh Adonai Vayam Yisrael 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 Vayar Yisrael Yagdula Asher Adonai Mitzrayim Vayiram Adonai Vayiminu Adonai Moshe Avdo Az Yishem Moshe B'nei Yisrael Et Shira Zod Adonai Vayimru Lamor Asher Adonai Ki Golgaz V'Zrechvo Mavayam Ozi V'Timardia Vayihil Nishu Azelion Ve'Hula Ve'Avibram Menu Adonai Li Mishlo Michamocha Balim Adonai Mikamocha L'Dar B'Kodesh Norati Lo Tosef Elet Alti D'Mechamek V'Lecha L'Pechazev V'Mzuga Altam People they women mevacha v'dulalu dimle mekava ben adi vavon mechananai adi avon mezuka nita mechon mezvalim mikdash Adonai kodinei odilecha Adonai imloch leilam v'an Adonai imloch leilam v'an Kila Adonai imlocha Moshe v'goyim v'yolam Moshe ba'artzi al nishpot et arisa v'ayit Adonai imlocha Vayin melech al kol haaretz, vayom mi Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. Page 29, the beginning of Shacharit. Please join me if you can. I want to say Boker Tov to Ahuva and to Gilbert. Really nice to have you with us, as well as Clinton. Page 29. Yishabach shimcha le'ad makeinu, ha'elam ha'gadol v'kadosh v'shrei v'aretz, ki lechanei Elon Eloheinu. Bracho v'yado me'ata v'yadolam baruch atah Adonai Amel gadol v'tishbachol Talal dorot anif v'blot Abocher v'shirei zimra Melech olamim Yitkada v'yikadash shemei rabah V'yamad v'rach yodeh v'mech machutei V'chayechona v'mechona v'chay l'chol Beit Yisrael B'agala v'zman karev V'mramen yesh v'yvarach Le'lam v'yamaya Yebarag yishtabag vidvar vidvar ninaseh v'tadav v'talev v'dal shmei nekudja b'chol Le'lam mikol birchata v'shirata tishbachata v'nechamata Tamiram miyama v'yamru amen. Page 30. Baruch hu et Adonai hamborach Baruch Adonai hamborach le'olam v'en Baruch atah Adonai melech haolam Yotzer borei choshech Oseh shalom borei et hakol Hamalei rat Ele Baruch Gadol Deah Echinu borei zarech hama Tov yatzar kavod lishmo Ma'ar natan tzivot tzai Pinot tavav k'derush romu shedai Tamid misrali kavod deah koshto Tibrak Adonai Eloheinu Lavi shavach ma'aseh yadecha V'yamor ohor Shasita yerucha selah Tibarach tzarenu malkinu v'go aleinu Borei kedushim nishbach Kulam ahuvim, kulam bebarim, kulam gebarim, v'chulam osim be'im avaratzon konam, v'chulam botchim et bihem, diktu shavta ra, b'shirav zimra, v'marachim u'shavchim farim, v'maritzim magishim, v'mamlichim, et shem ha'el melech hagadol, hagibor v'nara, kadosh hu, v'chulam mekablim aleihem malchut shamayim ze mizeh, v'nonim reshut ze lezeh, l'adishat sham b'nachad ruach, B'safa b'ravin ma'kedusha, kulam ke'chadonim v'yomrim, be'ira, kadosh, 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 Adonai tzvaot, v'lo chol ha'aretz ha'kevodo, v'yofanim v'chayot ha'kodesh, b'rash gadol minasim l'rat serafim, v'yomanta m'shavchim v'yomrim, baruch kavod Adonai mimkomo le'el baruch don yiteinu. Or Chadash Hatzion Tayeh V'nishke Kulanu Me'er Le'aro Baruch Atah Adonai Hayotzer HaMe'orot Ahava Rabav Tanu Adonai Eloheinu. Page 32. V'yareinu anu b'toratecha v'tel levinu b'tzvotecha v'yachal levinu v'yaver yeshemecha V'havienu l'shalom me'avar kamfot ha'aretz v'tolichenu k'mot l'ratzenu ki el poel yeshuot ata uvanav akarta mikolam v'lashon v'kerev tana shimcha gadol sela b'yamet v'yodol l'echada v'yavam baruch atah Adonai abocher b'amo Yisrael b'yava. Page 33. Let's gather our tzitzit together. If you have them, prepare ourselves for Shema. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך, בכל נפשך, בכל מאלדיך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך לתך בדרך ושוך בך וקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ילדיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, והיה עם שמות תשמעו. ויאמר אדוני אל משה לאמור דבר אל בני ישראל ואמרת עליהם ועשו להם ציצית הקמתם מדורותם ונתנו על ציצית הכנף בתוך תכלת והיה לכם לציצית וראיתם אותו וזרקתם מכל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם ולא תטורו אחרי לבבכם מאחרי עיניכם אשר אתם זונים אחריהם למען תזכרו ועשיתם מכל מצוותי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי לכם מארץ מצרים והיו להם לאלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת אדוני אלוהיכם אמת לדור ודור הוא קיים ושמו קיים מכיסו ונכון ומלכותו ומנהתו לעד קיימת וברך חיים אמת שאתה אדוני אלוהינו לאבותינו מלכנו מלך אבותינו גאלנו גואל אבותינו יועצנו צור ישועתנו פודנו מצילנו מעולם שמך אין אלוהים זולתך page 35 בעזרת אבותינו אתה הוא מעולם תהילות לאל עליון ברוך ומבורך משה בני ישראל לך אנו שירה בשמחה רבה ואמרו כולם מי כמוך בעלים אדוני מי כמוך נדר בקודש נורא תהילות תוסף אלה שירה חדשה שיחו גילים משפרת שפת הים יחד כולם עודו והמליכו ואמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד צור ישראל קומה בעזרת ישראל ובני קדומך יהודה וישראל גאלנו אדוני צבאות שמו קדוש ישראל ברוך אתה Adonai God Yisrael. The Amidah, the central prayer for this morning, is found on page 36b. If you're able to rise, please do so at this time. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu Eloheinu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah האל הגדול גיבור נורא, יום גומל חסדים טובים וקונע, כל וזוכה חסדי אבות, ומביא גאול לבניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזב וקדושי המגן, ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ומפקד שרה. אתה גיבור ליום אדוני, מחיים מתים אתה רב להושיע, משיב הרוח, מוריד הגשם, מחכה לחיים בחסד, מחיים מתים רחמים רבים. סומך נובלים רבך לימוד אסורים, מגני לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך. מלך ומית חיי מצמיח ישועה ונאמנת לחיי המתים ברוך אתה אדוני בחיי המתים נקדש את שמך לעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום גג הדוויה דוויך וגר זה ויאמר קדוש 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 אדוני צבאו מלך לארץ כבודו למעתם ברוך יאמרו ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו ופתירי קדשך כתוב לאמור ימלוך אדוני לעולם אלוהי את ציון לדברו, הללויה, לבדו נגיג עליך, לנצח, נצחים קדישתך נקדיש, ושכחך אלוהינו מפינו, לא ימוש לעולם ועד, כי המלך הגדול הקדוש אתה, ברוך אתה, אדוני, האל הקדוש, אתה חונן לדם דעת, ולן ראש בינה, חנין מתך לדין והשכל, ברוך אתה, אדוני, חונן הדעת. השיבינו אבינו לתורתך וקרבינו מלכנו לעבודתך וחזרנו בשלום שלמה לפניך ברוך אתה אדוני הרוצה בתשובם סלח לנו אבינו כי חטאנו מחל לנו כבר כי פשענו כי מוחל וסלח אתה ברוך אתה אדוני חנין ומרבה לסלוח ראה נא וריבנו ריבנו וגאלנו מעל שמך כי גואל חזק אתה ברוך אתה אדוני גואל ישראל רפאנו אדוני בני רפא הושיענו ונבשע כי תלתנו אתה ועלינו רפואה שלמה לקוחתנו כי אל מלכנו רחמן אתה ברוך אתה אדוני רופא חולי עמו ישראל ברוך עלינו אדוני אלוהינו את השנה הזאת וכל בני טובה טובה תן ברכה בני אדמה סבנו וטובה ברך שנתנו שנו טובה ברוך אתה אדוני מברך השנים תקבל בשבוע גדול לכורתנו וצונך לגבץ גאולתנו כתבנו יחד באור הארץ ברוך אתה אדוני מקבץ לכם עמו ישראל אשרינו אשרינו ורשינה והוצאנו בן תחילה ועשינו מיון יגאל לך מלוך עלינו אתה אדוני לך נכס ורח אמין זכרנו במשפט ברוך אתה אדוני מלך אוהב צדקה ומשפט ברוך אתה אדוני שובר עולים מחנה ידדים Al tzadikim ve'ala chasidim ve'al ziknei kamcha b'Yisrael. Al pleitas overei al v'geret tzedek yalenu. Yehumin rachamecha Eloheinu. V'tin sakato v'chol b'tchim shimcha b'yamet. V'simcha kinu imahem. V'elonu b'nu v'kos v'tachtim. Baruch atah Adonai. Misham mutach l'tzadikim. V'shalayim arecha brachamim tashu v'ticho shon. Martiv v'yom le'me'olam. V'chisi davai meher l'tochal kachim. Baruch atah Adonai. Bonei Yerushalayim. Etzemek David Avdecha, Meher Tasmir V'Kern Yeshuatecha, Ki Yeshuatecha Kivin Kol Yom Baruch Atah Adonai, Matzmir Kern Yeshua, Shma Kaleinu Adonai Eloheinu Chutz Rachem Aleinu V'Chabarachem Miratzon Tfilataynu Ki El Shomei Al Tfilo Tachnimata Milfanecha Balkinu Rekam Al Teshiveinu Ki Ata Shomei Al Tfilat Amcha Yisrael Barachamim Baruch Atah Adonai Shomei Al Tfilat Return Layla Bimcha Yisrael Tfilatam Yeshua Adonai Tfilatam Be'avat Takabra Ratzon Tiat Ratzon Tamid Avadis Remecha V'Techazen Einen Shichat Zion Barachamim Baruch Atah Adonai Hamachazeh Shinato L'Tzion Odim Anachnu Lach Ki Lo Chadorach Hamecha Marach Hamecha Mechazek Hamecha Kivinu Lach V'Yo Kulam Mikram page 43 Shimcha Maltinu Talelam V'en V'choyim Menucha Sela Yeler Shimcha B'Yemet Ha'el Yishratinu V'Zertenu Sela Baruch Atah Adonai Hotov Shimcha Lohen Adodot Elohim Elohim Otenu Marchinu Barucham Shulat V'Torah Tivali Dei Moshe Avdecha Mora Mipu Aron Uvanav Konim Am Kedushecha Gamor Yirecha Hanai V'Yishmerecha Dier Adonai Panav Elecha V'Yichunecha Yisal Adonai Panav Elecha V'Yasem Lecha Shalom Sim Shalom Bolam Tova Bracha Chen V'Chased Rachamim Elenu V'Kol Yisrael Mecha Barchinu V'Avinu Kulanu Ke'echa Bor Panecha Kibor Panecha Tatalanu Adonai Elenu V'Toret Chayim V'Yav Chesed U'Tzedakah Bracha V'Chayim Chayim V'Shalom V'Tov V'Nech V'Rech Et Emcha Yisrael Et Uchol Sha'ad B'Shomecha Baruch Atah Adonai Barech Et Amo Yisrael B'Shalom Mikadav V'Gadash Shemei Rabbah V'Amad V'Rachyotem V'Mech Malchutei B'Chayechonu V'Yachonu Chai D'Chol Beit Yisrael B'Agalav Yizman Karev V'Yemru Amen Yesh Miram Barach V'Elo Me'amaya Yebarach Yishabach V'Tvar V'Tman Neseh V'Tedar V'Talev Z'Los Shmei Nekucha Brechu V'Lam Min Kol Berchata V'Shirata Tush Bechata V'Nechamata Dami Ram B'Yama V'Yemru Amen. As we come to the concluding prayers of the service, we turn to page 78. Ashrei Ashrei V'Dekalu Chasela. Tovan Anai Kol Rachamav Kol Masa V'Yeduchan Anai Kol Masa V'Chatzadiv Potech Chadir Matzpil Chol Charatzon Tzadik Anai B'Kol Racham V'Chatzadiv Kol Masa V'Yeduchan Tilat Adonai Dabapi, Or, Kobashon Shkolovim, V'Nachnu Baruch, Mabitavi Olam Aliyah, Levatzech Mizmor David. Hey ma, Karula Fudo V'Nachnu Kama V'Ted Adonai Yoshem Melech Alenu V'Yom Koreinu. Uvalet Siyom Golesh Meshav Yaakov Neum Adonai V'Ani Bezopriti Otam Amar Adonai Ruchim. V'Yatagosh Yishadil Yisrael V'Karazah Zaviyama Kadosh 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 Adonai Tzvot Maklarets Kavodo Maktin Didim Yomim Kadish B'Shemei Moralite Beit Shchinte Kadish Al Arata Kavod Gevirate Kadish Alem Almeomea Adonai Tzvot Amalei Kol Ara Zivi Karei Tisein Ruach Hashemei Achara Korah Ashkado Baruch Adonai Mim Komo L'Natan Ruchem Be'otim Mitzegim Adonai Mochlei Elam Va'en Adonai Le'Avraham Yitzchak Yisrael Votam Shemar Zdot Elam Yitzad Be'ach Shalav Avad Mecha Kelava Melecha V'Rachum Mechabar V'Lo Yashchit V'Yirba L'Shiv V'Kol Yirkol Amato Ki Ata Adonai Kol V'Sleach Rav Chesed L'Kol Korecha. We're on page 81. Yehirat Samvanachal and Elohim Vatena Shemel Lamazen. Baruch Avir Benai, Vaina Mitav Ko, but who the night people are Olamim. By the Hubakal Yode Shemecha, Kilos after Dor Shakal Denai, Adonai Chavetz the Mansiko, Yagil Torah Yadir. Ikadavi Gadash Shemera Babi Amadi Rachir Teva Mechachute V'Chayach Konim V'Chonim Chayim Kol Beit Yisrael. Bagalav is Mankariv Imru Amen. Yeheshmim Ram Varach Lelam Meo Mayam. Yibarag Yishtabach Vitbar Vitrani Nasei Vitadar Vitalev Vitalas Rendi Kucha Brechu Lelam Mikol Berchata V'Shirata Tushbachata V'Nechamata Dami Ram B'Yama V'Imru Amen. תקבל צבאות הנהודות ישראל, קדום ישמע ואמרו אמן, יהי שלומם משמיא וחיים עלינו וכל ישראל ואמרו אמן, עושה שלום במרומיו ויעשה שלום עלינו וכל ישראל, כל ישרי תבל ואמרו אמן. Page 83 for Elenu. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה לייצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצון ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו גם וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומשה וקרא בשמיים עמו, שכינתו זו גם מרומים הוא אלוהינו אין מלכנו אפס סעודתו ככתוב בתורתו ותת היום והשבותם אל לבבך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ועל הארץ מהתחת אינו ככתוב בתורתך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, ונאמר, והיה אדוני מלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Mourner's Kaddish is found on page 84. יקדל ויקדש שמי רבה, ביומן דברה חירותי, וימליך מלכותי, בחיי חון ויום חון, וחיי דכל בית ישראל. בעגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ומעלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשא בריחו, לעילם מכל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירם בימה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיים, חיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen. The psalm for this morning, the psalm for Wednesday, is on the bottom of page 87. היום יום רביעי בשבת שבוע אביב למרומים בבית המקדש, עונג מבוא לנאי מקמל פיהו של מי יקום לי ממרים לי מעולם לי מלכותי אבן לכו נראה אדוני נרי לצור ישנו כמה בטובה בזמרו נרי אלום כי אל גדול אדוני מלך גדול הכול אלוהים. Mourner's Kaddish, the final one for this morning, is found on page 100. יתקדם ויקדש שמי רבה ויאמר דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחיי חון וביום חון ובחיי דכל בית ישראל בעגלה בזמן קריב ואמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מברך לעולם ומעלמיה, יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא, יתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי לקודשא בריחו, לעילם מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה, תאמירם בימה ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיים, חיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. הוא עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו amen. May God give comfort to all those who mourn. I want to welcome and thank everyone for joining us this morning, especially those who are watching on Facebook and YouTube. We're about to go into some morning meditation for those who'd like to stick around. And for that, we're going to be joined by Cantor Barron, who's here with us as he's connecting. And it's a chance for us to transition from one service to the next, one phase of davening, very quick, loud, fast davening, to something more introspective. If you're joining us on Facebook and YouTube, you're welcome to stay with us. Cantor Barron, really nice to see you this morning. How are you, sir?
I'm very well. Thank you, Rabbi. Lovely service. I always enjoy your davening.
Thank you so much. I very much appreciate that. What do we have in store this morning for meditation?
Well, I'm going to do a couple of quotes from Rabbi Zalman Schachter Shalomi about prayer. And we're going to, what we've been sort of experimenting with over the last month is to see where we can go personally with prayer, when we can slow it down, slow the pace down. I'm reminded, one of my teachers in cantorial school used to talk about his first job was in Connecticut, and it was right next to the train station. And so people would come for the morning minyan, and everybody was watching their clocks because the train was going to leave at a certain time, to go into Manhattan. And so the service was totally based on the timetable of the train. And so it's a great story that illustrates some of the problems we have with prayer, which is that we want to get all of our prayers in, but we have other things to do in our day. And so we're going to spend some Wednesday mornings now just taking our time a little bit after the morning service, slow it down, and get open our hearts a little bit more. So that's the idea.
Okay, well, I'm going to let in some of the folks who are going to be meditating with us into the waiting room.
Right.
And then let you take it from there.
All right. Thank you, Rabbi. Trying to get my camera straightened out here. Good morning. Good morning, Bruce and Hannah. So nice to have you here. And all of you who have stayed on from the service on Facebook, welcome to you. Hello, Mark. And we also said that we would spend a couple of minutes after our meditation this morning just to maybe answer some questions and have some discussion. So we'll do that. And I see that I have the power to admit people now. It's really, wow. Hi, Esther. Nice to see you. Okay, I was gonna play some music, but because I was waiting for 8 o'clock to roll around, but 8 o'clock has rolled around. So for the past month or so, we've been experimenting with a brief period of meditation, 15 to 20 minutes, following the morning minyan. The goal is to pause very intentionally in front of the many masterpieces of prayer that appear in I guess you'd call it the museum, and I'm letting people in, the museum of our Siddur. Good morning, everyone. I have to look up here in order to allow people to come in. And if you're still on from the morning minyan, we welcome you. If you'd like to join us on Zoom as well, please drop me a note at pbaron, B-A-R-O-N, at vbs.org. I'm happy to have you join on Zoom as well. And those of you who are on Zoom, I encourage you to come to the morning service also, and it's a good chance to sort of look at some of the prayers as you go along and see if there's something that really jumps out at you as something you'd like to try to internalize a little bit more. The prayer book really is, as I said, kind of a museum of beautiful portraits of prayer. And then the other option, of course, is just to sit with your own words, your own prayer, open your heart, and speak to the Holy One directly. And so that's what we're going to try to do in an unhurried fashion. So let's put our feet flat on the floor if possible, your back straight as possible. Take a deep breath. If you have been davening this morning with Rabbi Farkas, allow some of that beautiful tapestry of prayer to be in your heart. And if you're just joining in prayer, now just open your heart, allow yourself to sit, empty yourself of all the things that press on you. So for the next 15 minutes or so, 20 minutes, nothing's going to pull at your elbow, nothing, the phone won't ring, hopefully, you'll turn it off. And just sit and empty. And as you do, you'll notice that your breath is present for you. So sit with your breath. We have so many words in Hebrew that mean soul and breath. And there's a reason for that. So let your neshama, your neshima, your ruach, let that dominate your focus this morning. And just sit with your breath for a couple of minutes. And as you do, I'm going to read you just 2 quotes from Rabbi Zalman Schachter Shalomi. He says, experiences of God are not that hard to come by. All that's required is a little yearning, a little searching, a welcoming of God within. V'asuli mikdash v'shachanti b'tocham, says the book of Exodus. And literally that means, build me a sanctuary so that I may dwell within you. So the sanctuary we build is really ourselves. And then Rabbi Shalomi says, only set aside a place and I will come. Set aside a place and I will come. It's a little bit like build it and I will come, right? Or they will come. And then he says, the act of speaking directly to God, of opening our hearts to God's response, is one of the ultimate mystical experiences. Like great art and great music, prayer brings out the poetry of the soul. So now as you sit and empty, and give it some time, give it a minute or two, see if a prayer bubbles up. See if one of our formal prayers that you're familiar with is something that desires your focus. What is your yearning this morning? Let's take 2 minutes of silence. Now just be with your breath. Did you notice how difficult it is to empty your mind? Your planning mind wants you to get on your way this morning and do all the things that you planned. So now just gently nudge that mind back to just your breath. Just focus there. When you empty your mind, then something true might be present. I'll just share for me this morning. It's something from Birchot HaShachar. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, she'asa li kol tzorki. From the Birchot HaShachar prayers, that God provides for all my needs. And this is present for me because we have some hope about a vaccine in the news. God provides for my needs, for our needs. We're not in control and in charge of everything. That's become painfully obvious over the past few months. So for me, that's my prayer this morning. What's your prayer? So now let's take 10 minutes. And when you find that you are thinking about things, planning, remembering, come back to your breath and allow that moment of direct contact with the divine presence. Let that be central for you. And we'll take 10 minutes. And return to your breath and just take a couple of deep breaths. Zeitchem l'shalom. Go in peace to a beautiful day. If any of you who are on Zoom right now would like to stay on or simply sign off and do some extra meditation, please do. I think a couple of you you had some questions or wanted to discuss. Mark, you had suggested that we stay on.
Yeah, so I've been doing this connected breath, uh, 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 deep breathing from my abdomen into my diaphragm, into my upper lung.
Uh-huh.
And then when I get full, then I exhale through, I inhale through my nose, then exhale through my mouth. And then when I get all the way down again, exhale, then I start it all over again from the lower abdomen, the diaphragm, the upper. So I continue this breath, and I can do it like 45 minutes. But the I can't seem to put anything into my mind as far as doing anything connecting to something else.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked really well when you started doing hallelujah, and I'm doing my connected breath. That was perfect. I didn't have to do anything, and I'm doing my breathing, and yet I'm getting the spiritual part with
Yeah,
what you were doing. So
great.
that seems to, and the breathing is the neshama, so I'm doing that connection, but I'm not getting any kind of a spiritual.
Uh-huh. I see. Yeah, because your focus is very much on your breath, which is great because the idea is to quiet the mind, right? So maybe in your case, the thing to do is because that seems to be working, the breath seems to be working for you, and when the hallelujah came in, that seemed to take it to a spiritual place. Maybe what you need to do is just do the breathing for a period of time and then stop the process of the breathing. Now that your mind is completely focused and quiet, maybe that's the moment where you open your heart or open a space for that spirituality, that moment to come in.
Okay.
So maybe you can't do both at the same time, and why complicate it, right? So do the breathing and then allow yourself to just be open and see what comes in, or fill that space with an idea like hallelujah or shalom or something, or one of the prayers from the prayer book. Let that fill that space that you've created, because that seems to be working really well for you. It's kind of a yogic breath that you're breathing, that you're doing, and I don't see anything wrong with that at all. I think that's really good, actually. If we had more time, maybe we could, we should have a retreat at some point when we can, and maybe do some of those things where we have a lot of time to experiment. Maybe do an hour of breathing. Walking meditation, I find, is also very powerful for me, where you just walk very slowly in a pattern and then turn around and come back. Maybe you cover 30 yards or something and then could go back and forth, stop, open up to the trees, to the elements, and then repeat. I find that's very powerful for me also, and then sit in meditation. So love to try all those things, and we don't seem to have enough time, or certainly the ability right now to do those things. But maybe one day I'll encourage everybody, go in your backyard, go outside somewhere, go to the park, and maybe we can do it together in some way. And we could even meet at the park, maybe not in the next few weeks, but when things get well. Of course, people in Oregon can't, but you could be on your phone, as Bruce pointed out, and we can do something outdoors, which would be lovely also. So all good ideas. Thanks, Mark. Yes, Esther.
My trailhead.
Sorry.
May I offer my trailhead?
Yeah. Oh, yes. Where is your trailhead, Esther?
Encino Hills, the top of it
Uh,
is,
Mulholland, right?
yeah,
Off of Mulholland. Yeah.
yeah, it's
I like hiking there too.
starts, yeah.
Do you go to the left or to the right?
Well, I'm there every day, so I go every
Oh,
which way.
okay.
Yeah.
And our daughter took our grandson up to Reseda, at the end of Reseda.
Oh,
where-
yeah. I
Yeah.
just did that yesterday.
Oh, you did. Well, you might have seen them.
Yeah, there are many, many trails. You can go to Malibu from there, which I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you a question. I've been delving into Musar and the book that you recommended, The Everyday Holiness.
Yes.
Marinus, how do you say his last name?
You know what? I can't remember. How do you spell it? I can't remember his name.
Morinis.
Yeah, Moranis. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm really interested in it. It's a tradition that come by, honestly. My Zeta was a Musari Rov in Belarusia.
I knew he was a rabbi, but I didn't know he was.
Yeah, he was a
sorry.
graduate of Volozhin. I mean, that's where he got his smichas. And
Uh-huh.
at that time, well, anyway, everything that I have a very, very vivid ideas about him because my mother talked about him constantly.
Oh,
It just matches up. I never knew the word musar before.
yeah. No, it's a wonderful practice, and it's very practical, very, very practical. But it comes from a spiritual place.
Yeah, it's just so, to me, it's just so useful and so wonderful that comes from our tradition.
Yeah.
You know,
We have so many wonderful traditions that somehow got sort of cemented over in the 20th century, and we're sort of breaking through the cement now.
you cannot find them in synagogues.
No, we certainly didn't learn about it in Hebrew school. If we had, we'd probably have a lot more Jews
I have
today.
it in my home, and I love that I can discover that it's somewhere else,
Yeah.
not just from that it's anyway. But I just would I'd love to apply some of those things and think about those
Great.
things. more.
Yes. So maybe in this coming year we'll delve into Musar also and have some guest speakers. I don't consider myself the person to teach it, but there's some wonderful people out there. Rabbi Hoffman's been having, I don't know if he's still doing it weekly, but he was doing a Musar group, I believe weekly. I don't know if any of you attended that. Mark, yes. How was that? Did you enjoy that?
Oh yeah. It's deep. It's
Yeah.
deep stuff. Yeah.
Great. So
Yeah,
I recommend that.
The Yetzet Hara, especially defining that much more than just the throwaway phrase, it's an evil inclination. It's so much more than that.
Yes. Right.
They
Yeah.
consider that a key part of the process that we have inside of us.
Yeah. Also, I've been studying Tanya for about 3 years now. I'm about halfway through it. I'm studying it in Hebrew, and it's not long, by the way, but I study every week with the rabbi. Studying with him this morning, actually, about 9:00. And rabbi in Israel, and he's really wonderful. Joel Zeff, he came to speak to us some months ago, and it also, Tanya very much delves into the Yetzer Hara, and also the animal soul and the divine soul. These are all very important, the inner workings on the spiritual level, and the worlds. There are 4 worlds, and we live in only one of the 4 worlds, and that what we do and what happens in the other worlds, they all intersect. It's a very, very interesting point of view. And so there's so much more to learn and to study together. So I'm so glad to have some company on that journey.
I especially, my emphasis is on practical, the things that I can pull into myself that can make me my better self. I'm not so interested in theoretical.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and that's why Musar is so perfect. right?
Yeah.
It really is. Anyone else have a question or a topic? So I do have to run off, but I'm so glad that you've been attending more than once a week. I see Natalia, looks like, is here as well. It's what time in
Yes,
Russia?
I've sent you an email.
You sent me a what? I'm sorry.
I've sent you an email.
Oh, an email. Okay, great. I will check it out. And it was great to have one of your students on with us yesterday. Stas was on with us also. So he's learning English. So wonderful to be with you. And we'll see you next week. And thanks for all the suggestions. It was really good. Very stimulating. We'll do this again next week. Okay.
Great. Thank
All
you
right.
very much.
Bye. All have a beautiful
Thank
day.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye.